there tends to be a lot of emphasis on insight in Buddhist meditation. But the aim of meditation ultimately is not insight, it's freedom, a liberation of our hearts and minds, a liberation through non-clinging. It's starting to make a shift in how and where we look for our well-being and happiness. Most of us, most of the time, seek our happiness, whether we're aware of it or not, in getting more of what we want, more pleasant experiences, and getting rid of or having less of what we don't want, unpleasant experiences. No one wants to have more unpleasant and less pleasant in their lives. This is part of being a human being, and these patterns run very, very deep in all of us. But seeking happiness solely in having or not having certain experiences, that's a very fragile or tenuous kind of happiness, because even if you can get what you want, it's not going to last forever. Everything changes. And so ultimately, a happiness that's dependent upon circumstances, we call that a conditioned happiness. And we're aiming for an unconditioned happiness or an unconditioned well-being, in which our happiness is not only tied up in the nature of the experience, but we get just as interested, perhaps more interested, in how we're relating with whatever's happening and start to find our well-being there. If we say, don't cling, we can do it in a given moment, but it doesn't take long for certain experiences to come, certain causes and conditions, and we're caught again back in our habitual reactive patterns. This is the role for insight, where insights can really help us and are a powerful aid in the liberation through non-clinging. One of the first insights we may have is that, we've already mentioned, experiences are changing, things don't last. When we perceive that very clearly as part of our lived experience, we tend not to grasp and cling after things so much, knowing that they're just changing. We perceive very clearly the suffering that comes from clinging to any experience because they're impermanent, and that also helps us in letting go. And we start to perceive more accurately the nature of our own minds and bodies, our own being, in that we too are a collection of changing experiences. Insights arise in three main ways. Insights come as a direct result, as a fruit of the deeper stages of meditation, jhana and other meditative states. Insights come in formal meditation during the times when we cannot concentrate. Perhaps something difficult or painful is happening and we're trying to stay with it and work with it and be present. And a third place, an important place for insight, is when we're not in formal meditation and we're living our lives. It's all the experiences of daily life. And I want to say a few words about each of these three. When we become more concentrated, our minds are less distracted and naturally more clear and aware. And if we take that to the level of jhana, we attain a level of clarity that has been an undistractedness that has previously been inaccessible for us. And so naturally, without even having to do anything, these insights, these awarenesses become more clear to us. We naturally are aware of changing phenomena. We're naturally aware of the suffering that comes through clinging, and we're naturally aware more of the nature of our own hearts and minds, our bodies, that they are also a collection of changing experiences. That alone is a great aid in letting go of clinging and helping us to rest more equanimous and at peace. There may be times during when we're in jhana or other deep stages of meditation, there may be times when we choose to turn the mind and look for insights, to do some investigation, to consciously, actively look for the changing nature of experience, or what's the nature of our own being, or what's the cause of suffering through clinging. So those insights can come either on their own, or we can turn the mind and actively do some investigation. During the times when we're not in jhana, or perhaps can't concentrate very well at all, or there's any kind of difficulty or suffering, tension or stress, sometimes people can think that the meditation's not going well or that it's falling apart. But these are very important places, and we don't want to miss the opportunity that those have to offer for us. Nothing proceeds unbroken in a straight line, just getting more and more pleasant and concentrated. There are always ups and downs in meditation. And so we will always we'll go into the deeper stages of concentration, and then we'll go through cycles or times when it's not so easy. We don't have the support of the concentration. Rather than react with and push away those experiences, we want to use those times. They really reveal, they unmask levels of clinging that we may not have been aware of before. We get to really find out, how are we able to sit with, to be with this unpleasant experience? Can we find a way to let go of our suffering around it? And then the third important place for insight is in daily life. We'll be in ordinary consciousness, whatever that is for us, not meditative consciousness. So we may not have the same level of undistractedness we had when we were sitting in meditation. But the fruits of the meditation those results do carry through into daily life and will help us be on automatic pilot much less of the time. And our clarity will be much deeper, and we'll have it much more of the time. And so we get to find out then, how are we in relationship with the people we interact with, our work, family, friends, any relationship. Are we able to rest with open hearts and quiet minds? Where are the places, what is it that causes our hearts to close off, and how can we let go around it? And what will support us to live in a liberated way that carries through to all aspects of our lives, so we don't make a disconnect between meditation and any of the other aspects of our lives.